let us stand. Oh God, we praise you for your being. We thank you for your goodness. We are told in your word that you do not tolerate persistent godlessness, nor those who suppress truth by wickedness. We also know that you are the only one who can judge in complete equity and righteousness, for only you can perfectly penetrate the veil of external distractions and dubious claims to truth. Nevertheless, you command your people to appoint officials to judge the people fairly, who neither pervert justice or show partiality, nor accept bribes which blind the eyes of the wise and twist the words of the righteous. So we thank you that in this land of the free, in this home of the brave, we have a say in who there is to be our judges. And we look forward to hearing two of them today. We ask that you bless them in their awesome task, that you grant them the wisdom to discern. And now, God, we ask that you will bless our time together, nourish us with the food, and inform our minds with the speeches and discussion. In Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our guest, Judge Ralph Ohm, is here with us, and so glad to see you were able to get away. He's filling in today for the other district judge in our area, Judge David Schweitzer, who is having some surgery and some difficulties, and then he has to leave at 12:30. So he's going to have an opportunity here, and we're going to let him give a little explanation of two of his roles that he has in Garland County government. One as district judge, for District 2 judge for our area, and the other as, for the last 25 years, is that correct? He has served as Garland County attorney. And so he's very knowledgeable about the workings of Garland County government, and will be able to tell you some things, and also we'll have a question and answer time. And George, I'm sure you'll be willing to participate in that, I hope, to ask some questions of Judge Ohm and the rest of you that will be interesting, and an opportunity to get some understanding and enlightenment that you might not otherwise have had opportunity for. So I'm going to give the mic to Judge Ohm. I'd like also to know that we also have with us Micah May, who is the area director for Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And he works in the public school systems with that organization in quite a large number of schools in this area.
30 school districts.
30 school districts, including Jesseville and Fountain Lake.
Of course.
And both Judge Ohm and Micah have a experience of having some faith-based issues interplaying with what they do in the public school system. Some people don't like it that a faith-based organization is able to operate there, and some are very happy about it, but there are issues that they have had to wrestle with, I think, from time to time, and so has Judge Ohm in his work as a district judge. He's had some issues with questions of ethics and questions of legality regarding working with faith-based organizations as a district judge in assigning people, for example, in drug rehab programs to local programs that are faith-based. Some people don't like that. There's a connection there. But Judge Ohm is a man of faith, and that Micah is too. So they have that in common here as an issue to look at and for you to interact with them about with your questions. And I've rambled on long enough, so here's Judge Ohm.
Thank you very much. So, do I really have to use the mic for your recording, because I'm pretty loud and I don't.
Well,
you need it?
I wish you would.
Okay. All right. First of all, my name is Ralph Ohm. Let me start by saying I actually saw George yesterday. He already asked me a bunch of questions, so I would think that if I fulfilled his curiosity, but if he has others, I'd be happy to deal with George. George and I go way back. He was on the quorum court at one time, and he was hard to figure out where he stood because he was so quiet and he would never share his opinion. But eventually he would share his opinion if you prodded him long enough. Again, my name is Ralph Alm. I'm the district court judge here in Hot Springs, Garland County. I've held that position since January 1 of 1999. My partner is a guy named David Schweitzer, who was a circuit judge for like 25 years and then became a district court judge about 4 years ago. Judge Schweitzer and I were both going to come out here together and spend time with you all, but Judge Schweitzer, if you don't know, has lung cancer, and he had surgery about a year ago, thought he was doing well, went into remission, everything's supposed to be fine. He went back for his last 6-month checkup, and it ended up they found another spot, and so he had to have surgery last week on the other lung, and so obviously he's kind of not available right now. So I'm doing court morning and afternoon, and so I went and did court this morning. I was hoping to get done in time to be out here to spend a little bit of time with you guys, and I got to go back in. I got to start again at 1 o'clock, and so that's the schedule that I'm working under. And I do want to, again, thank you for the opportunity to come out and talk with you guys. And I promise you, in fact, I told Judge Schweitzer I was coming out, and he said, I'd like to go with you. And this was before we knew everything was going to go wrong for him at this point. But I will tell you, he did the surgery. Surgery went well, and he is very, very pleased with where he's at right now. And so it wasn't nearly as extensive as they expected. They thought they'd take a lobe, they ended up taking just a section of his lung. So what I wanted to do today is basically talk to you about, I was going to come out here and talk to you about 2 things that are near and dear to my heart. And then I decided to add a thing. So now I'm going to talk to you about 3 things that are near and dear to my heart. And then after I read this really cool thing that you did about me on the web page or whatever, and I got to see kind of what's going on. Now I've decided to talk to you about 4 things that are near and dear to my heart. And I'll stop there because I do want an invitation to come back later on and talk about some other stuff. But the first thing I'm going to talk to you about is district court, because I will tell you there's a lot of stuff circulating with district court. Our district court is, I will tell you guys, we have the best district court in the state, bar none. Judge Hernsberger and I, when we came in 1999, we inherited a mess. And we decided we were going to make this court the very best court you could get out there. So we asked, who has the best court? We were told Fort Smith. We went to Fort Smith immediately, found out what they were doing, brought that stuff back and improved it. And I will tell you, we have, when new judges come on board and they ask the question from administrative officers of the court, who has the best court, they always send them to us. And they'll come and sit with us and we explain to them how we do things. We do a great job. And I will tell you why we do a great job. We have over 50,000 cases a year. The circuit court has about 1,500. We run about 50,000. And if you got 50,000 cases, you got to do it right. And so we take it and we run through these cases. We give people the time that they need. We deal with a lot of cases on the front end. And then we try whatever we need to. But we have a great systems in place. And so we even have specialty courts now where we have a DWI court. We have a drug court. I run the drug court. Judge Schweitzer runs the DWI court. We have a mental health court because we discovered basically people mess up for 3 reasons. We have people who make bad decisions because they're hooked on drugs or alcohol. We have people who make decisions because they have mental issues and they just really can't seem to make it happen. And then we have people who mess up because they're just mean. Just flat out mean, and those are the ones that the jail is really designed for. But this other 2 groups are not necessarily needing the jail. And so consequently we created a drug court. And I will tell you, to my drug court, I quickly discovered that Quapaw, which is our state-sponsored rehab program, is nowhere near adequate to handle the volume that we have come through our court. And so I reached out to faith-based programs. And I will tell you, we have some of the best faith-based rehab programs in the state, bar none. We have women's programs, we have men's programs, we have teen challenges down the road. I use teen challenge all the time. I use another place called The Branch, which is just a little bit further down the road, over on Park Avenue. I use Potter's Clay, I use a place called Salome. I use Quapaw when they have a bed, which is never. But whenever they have a bed, I'll put somebody in there. And there's a place in Pine Bluff I use. I like to use faith-based. The beauty of a faith-based program, it costs the state nothing. The county pays nothing. These people are technically in jail because I've got them court ordered in these programs, so I have my thumb on them and I know what's going on. I also know that they're getting rehabilitative services, and they just happen to be getting religious services. Now, I don't send them there for the religious part of it. I can't. But I tell you what, I don't shy away from that either. That is not, I mean, that is part of the process. And I will tell you right now, and you guys are my age or older, except for you, but everybody else knows if you don't change the inside, you don't change the outside. You've got to change the heart, change the action. And so I believe faith-based is critical. I have had complaints filed against me for using faith-based, and the Judicial Disciplinary Committee concluded that there was nothing wrong with using faith-based. I give people the option. I don't make anybody go. You can either stay in jail or go to rehab, which you want to do. You know, most people want to go to rehab, and so that's what we end up doing. And so I encourage them to go. I expect them to go. Unfortunately, all I have available is faith-based. That's the way it is. And so I use faith-based a lot. And I will tell you, we do have some great opportunities here. The other thing I want you to know is because of our aggressiveness, our DWIs are down by a third just in the last 3 years. We've developed an extremely aggressive program dealing with DWIs. Drug cases are down. Overall, criminal cases are down. If you get caught shoplifting a second time, I put you in jail. No questions asked. You go to jail. You violate a no contact order, you go to jail. Which brings me to an interesting problem because it turns out our jail is full most of the time. And so we have to deal with the full jail. But as you also know, we're going to have a new jail open up in a relatively short period of time. And that is going to make a big difference as far as our ability to even do more in regards to helping people adhere to the appropriate conduct that needs to occur. So the other thing I wanted to tell you about district court, in our efforts to always try to make it better, we have actually started a brand new software program. And here's the thing that I think you're going to find extremely interesting about this. This new software program, which we just started yesterday, which was the reason I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to make it today, is because anytime you start a new software program, there's always questions and problems and issues you don't anticipate. Well, this program is going to allow you to have the ability to access our court and to access our data. So those of you that are renters, if you're getting ready to rent to somebody, you will actually be able to get onto our system and do a background check from the comfort of your own home. You will be able to get onto our system. You'll be able to check somebody out. If you want to do a background check on anybody, if your granddaughter is dating somebody, and you want to know if that guy is a problem, you'll be able to check him out as far as Garland County is concerned. And actually, you'll be able to check him out as far as the state's concerned, those courts that are on the system. But this is a statewide system, and you'll be able to find out if your granddaughter or grandson's dating somebody they ought not be dating. You'll also be able to find out if you don't really want to rent to somebody because they've got 5 other fellow vacates ahead of them. So what you want to do, this is about 60 days out, but what they're telling us is within about 60 days, all of our stuff will be online, and you'll be able to access it from your computer at home, which I think is incredible. Now, on our end of it, there's a lot more work involved in it because there's a lot more data being put in, but we've got the agencies who are going to be able to scan reports and stuff, and of course there's a lot of things you can't get access to, and you can't manipulate the data, but you certainly will be able to check it out. And we're pretty excited about the fact that we're going to be able to open that up as well. And then the other thing I want to talk about, district court, we collect close to $4 million in fines, which is an unbelievable number in view of the size of our population here in Garland County. We have a lot of people who make bad decisions. But I will tell you, we hold everybody accountable, and we are fair, we are impartial, we try to do the right thing, and we give people breaks when we can, and we try to rehabilitate people when we can. But we also understand that there's justice and mercy, and that is the prayer today. You got to know the difference, when to give mercy, when to give justice. And so I will tell you, Judge Schweitzer, I think Judge Schweitzer and I do an outstanding job with our court, and I'm very proud of our court. And so that's why I kind of want to just summarize district court for you. I will tell you, we handle all felony arraignments, we do all misdemeanors, we do all traffic citations. When the new jail comes online, if you get a DWI in Garland County, you will go to jail, straight from court to jail. Judge Harmsberg and I did this when we first came on back in '99, and the jail got so frustrated, they said, you're running over the top of us, and there's just too many of them. And so we had to quit doing that. But with the new jail, we should have the ability to do that. And we want to send a message. We don't mind you drinking, just don't drink and drive. Drink and stay home, drink and get a designated driver, drink and do whatever you want to do. Just stay home. Don't get behind the wheel. I live in Garland County. I live near Lonsdale. I drive Highway 70 every day from Lonsdale to Hot Springs. And there's some crazy people on that road. I mean, they got to get to Little Rock in 20 minutes. Can't be done. Or they got to get from Little Rock to Hot Springs in 30 minutes. Cannot be done. I don't care how fast you go. So, I mean, we're keeping up with that. So as far as district court's concerned, I think we're in great shape on that, and we're making changes and improvements in there and moving forward. The other thing I want to talk to you about real quick is being the county attorney. It is an honor and a privilege to be Garland County's attorney. And I will tell you, in my practice, I have a private practice. I'm a part-time district court judge. And so I do my duties as a judge. My court is in session every afternoon. So I'm in court every afternoon, except for Friday. And then, which frees me up to do other things, either in the mornings or after court. And I will tell you, I work all the time, it seems like. I'm up and I'm working. But I have a profession where I can do that at home, and I do it. So, bottom line is, so you know a little bit about me, I actually am the county attorney for Garland County. I'm also the county attorney for Hot Spring County. And so I handle Hot Spring County, and I handle Garland County, and then I'm actually an attorney for a risk management pool called the PERMA, which stands for the Arkansas Public Entities Risk Management Association. And that association consists of about 110 cities and counties all over the state. And so I'm the lawyer for that pool. So I'm very much involved in civil rights litigation, very much involved in employee issues, and represent government a lot, which helps me in dealing with Garland County. Garland County has proven to be a very effective training ground. If something can go wrong, it goes wrong here, but we're able to get on top of it pretty quick. I have been the county attorney since 1993. I was the first county attorney hired by Garland County. That was before I became a judge, and you know, it just worked out. I got an opinion from the Judicial Disciplinary Committee. Could I continue to do both jobs? And they said as long as you were careful, you could do that. I don't handle the county cases. If the county officer gives you a ticket, Judge Schweitzer handles those. I stay away from those. But other than that, everything is fair game. As the county attorney, I want to bring you up to speed as to some of the county issues that we're dealing with. Because I will tell you, for the most part, the way we look at this, we got the city of Hot Springs, we got Garland County, and then we got the village, which is an animal all in of its own. I mean, we usually exclude the village from our stuff because you guys got so much stuff going on, but we all kind of view the village as a separate country that somehow got located in Garland County. We're grateful, and we love you guys, and I'm glad you're here, and you guys are not a real big problem, and we love having the village. It's a great opportunity for everybody. But it is a different world. I mean, you guys just do things a little bit differently than the people in Hot Springs or the people in the other parts of the county. And that's because you take care of business. I mean, you do take care of business and you take care of everything on it. But for the most part, as a county attorney, there are some issues. And then there's just, I don't know if you keep up with local politics or not, but there's this impression that the city and the county hate each other. And that the city and county are always fighting over everything. And I want you to know, we do have a lot of relationship together between the city and the county, and most of it is very good. The city and the county, we share the information technology department, and that's worked out great. The city has a great information technology department. We've tied into that, and they're helping us with ours as well, and I say us, I'm in the county. We also had a dog problem. I know the village had a dog problem, because I was in the middle of helping to get that ordinance created for you guys, because you all wanted to follow the county's ordinance because it was so expensive. And the city provides the dog services, and they do the pickups, and they do the tickets, and they do the trials, and the euthanization, and taking care of the dogs, and so we've got a contract with them. That's going fine. I mean, no problem. District court has a contract. There's a contract between the city and the county dealing with district court. There have been no problems with that. We are technically city employees in a county building. No issues, no problems. Everything seems to be going well in that area as well. And then it's also the jail. You know, we had a little bit of a riff over the jail, over who was going to pay for what. I will tell you right now, Brian Albright and I, who's the city attorney, we got together in a little room and said, look, this is the way this needs to be. And we both agreed, and we wanted all of their money. They wanted us to take their inmates. And so we agreed to do that, and they agreed to do that. And so we worked that out, and the jail's been a fine situation. The only problem that we have is with water. There's a big issue big fight, this big disagreement as to water. And now, this doesn't really impact the village because the village has its own system. Or North Garland County, I don't know if you guys are a part of that or how that all works, but somehow you are not a part of the City of Hot Springs system. And the City of Hot Springs has expanded its system in the other parts of the county, has taken in these improvement districts that were originally created and paid for by the property owners, and now have come back and said, we're not going to service these areas by providing additional meters. And then if you live in the county, you pay time and a half what people in the city pay. So if you live in the city, you pay $1 per thousand, and these are just rough numbers. If you live in the county, you pay $1.50 per thousand. And so there's become this, and so what ended up happening was Judge Davis, who some of you may know or may not know, but he's another guy who's not real shy about sharing his feelings as well. He finally said that ain't right. We don't like it, and we're going to do something about it. And so we got into this big conflict, and I will tell you, there's a meeting tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock at the chamber where we're going to bring this all to a head. Either the city's going to work with the county on this issue, or the county's going to do other things to try to protect its citizens. So we're hoping that that will get resolved. The chamber kind of brought some people together and created a committee to try to work through some issues involving water. Water is the one area where we are definitely at odds, cannot get along, cannot agree, and we will probably end up in litigation if, in fact, we can't resolve that issue. But I want you to understand, I mean, it's not that the county hates the city or the city hates the county. It's just the county believes that the city is taking unfair advantage of county employees when it comes to water, because the city has refused to extend water services unless you agree to annex in to the city, and the county doesn't like that, and then the city does charge county residents time and a half for no reason whatsoever. There's no additional cost for providing water to county residents. And so we have an issue with that, and that's coming to a head tomorrow afternoon, I would suspect. And then those are really the two things I was originally going to come and talk to you about. And then I wanted to add one. I decided to add a topic that I want to talk about. I've been watching. I got good. Okay. The other topic I want to talk to you about is an organization. It's called Champion Christian College. Champion Christian College is a school that is located in Hot Springs in the downtown area. And I have become very involved in that school. And I will tell you that it's a college that's been in place for 9 years. It's not accredited at this time, but they have about 50 students, none of which are from Arkansas. They're from all over the country, but not from Arkansas. I developed a relationship with the president of that school, this guy named Eric Pacey. In fact, Eric was going to try to come out here with me today, but the basketball team is going to Joplin for a tournament, and they're leaving at noon, and so he couldn't make that. But I do want to bring him out here and let you guys get to meet him and talk to you, because here's what we're looking for. We need teachers. We need people who have bachelor's, master's, and doctorates who are willing to invest in young people, because we're getting that school accredited, and I will tell you, when that school becomes accredited, it is going to explode. There is no doubt in my mind. There's some great people have come on board to help that school. They've been going for 9 years unaccredited, and the decision was made, look, we need to step it up to the next level. And I will tell you, I have invested a lot of time helping young people with drug problems. I just have. And I feel like God is telling me, look, maybe it's time to start helping some young people that don't have drug problems. Let's help some young people who want to get an education, who want to be missionaries in their job field, and who want to really go out there and become successes, and yet at the same time bring the gospel with them. And so I will tell you, our mission is to train people to be great citizens, great employees, and great Christians. We are going to basically send missionaries all over the state, the city, the country, the world undercover. You think you're going to be hiring an accountant? We're sending you a missionary instead. You think you're going to be hiring a guy flipping burgers at McDonald's? We're sending you a missionary. So the goal, I tell you, it's exciting. I'm very excited about this opportunity and this prospect. And the other thing is, and you know, if you just look at it from a business perspective, it's on 3rd and 4th Street downtown Hot Springs. There is nothing going on here. You can get meth, gun, and girls, probably guys too, within 200 yards of that location. It is not the best part of the city. But I will tell you, If you plug a school in there like that, and you put 1,000 young people, Christians in that group, and you put them throughout the city of Hot Springs, I can only imagine what God is going to do for that opportunity. I will tell you, I have been praying for revival for the city of Hot Springs and Garland County. I believe God is going to use Champion as a catalyst for that to happen. I'm convinced of that. I also have been praying that God would bring the right people, which is one of the reasons why I want to get out here and talk to you guys, because I think that you guys are, either some of you are the right people, or you know some right people. We do need teachers. I mean, they have teachers, but they have enough teachers for 50 students. I'm telling you, this place is getting ready to explode. In fact, I'm aggressively pursuing accreditation for them. I'm representing them as their lawyer, free of charge. I want it done. Part of it's selfish because I have a daughter who just turned 17, and I'll brag about her. She had a 34 on the ACT. She's got a scholarship to go anywhere in the state she wants to go. She don't want to go anywhere. She wants to stay home. She was homeschooled. My wife is a brilliant person. Obviously, say that's my wife. And so we are letting her go to National Park. She hated the National Park experience. She learned that you do not have a soul. She learned the earth is trillions and trillions of years old. And she also learned there's no Adam, there's no Eve. She learned all these things that we've been telling her all this one side. Now she's been taught, no, all that's wrong, it's all this side. Now obviously she believes what we told her, but there's got to be, it just created all this conflict for her. In fact, my daughter ended up clapping out at 33 hours. She's taken her 30 hours. She'll be done in a year. In May, she'll have her associate's degree. And then I'd like for her to be able to go to Champion. That's why I wanted accredited so bad, and I'm pushing hard to get it accredited. But we need teachers, we need people to support it. And I will tell you the other thing we need prayer warriors. If you are willing to pray for Champion, I want you to. In fact, I'm going to pass my notebook around. If you would just give me your email address, your phone number, and your name, and just say, look, I'll just pray for you guys. And then if you happen to know somebody or you're interested in helping out, just make a note of that as well. I know we're getting some cards put together and all that, but I didn't want to wait. I'm not one of those that waits. I like to jump in the middle of stuff and do it. And so if you know somebody that can help, then I definitely, we want you to help us out here. And that's what I want to talk about Champion. Champion's a great business opportunity, but it is also an incredible kingdom opportunity for all of us. Then the fourth thing I want to talk to you about, and that is FCA. Whenever I saw that you had FCA, I will tell you, I played football. I'm from Fort Smith. I went to Fort Smith North Side. I played football all through junior high, all through high school, went to Henderson. The only reason I went to Henderson was to play football. I played all 4 years there. I was going to be a football coach. Somehow I took the LSAT and ended up getting in, and now I'm a judge and a lawyer. Never got to be a football coach, and that's my dream. When I retire from this, I'm going to go find me someplace and coach some football somewhere. Somebody's going to let me do it. I just know God's going to give me the chance to do that before I die. Because that is one of my bucket list things, is to be on the sideline on a Friday night, yelling, screaming, and pitching a fit. I mean, that just sounds like fun. I get to yell, scream, and pitch a fit in the courtroom, but I got 3 guys with guns. I mean, that's kind of cool. I mean, I will tell you that is kind of cool. But I've got this desire. I always thought I'd be a football coach. I never did. What I wanted, I know hey, Micah. Micah is here to talk to you about FCA. I will tell you, I was in FCA all through Northside, all through Henderson. Did the week trips. Went to Air Force Academy for a week. Went to the Tech and all those places where we did the FCA programs. I will tell you right now, FCA was probably one of the most significant events that I participated in as a young person. My mom and dad didn't go to church. I was not exposed to church as a young person. I played football at Northside. Northside had a very active FCA program. And that's how I got plugged into that. You know, there's something about taking a group of guys and girls and letting them experience sports together for a week while at the same time experiencing prayer. And I still have what's called Good News for Modern Man. Good News for Modern Man. Little black Bible that they gave you, where I had everybody sign it at the end of the week. That's the only book that I have in my bookshelf that I had when I was a young person. The only one. And it's basically the Bible written in a format that somebody who had never seen the Bible could understand. Because it's not the Message, but it's not the King James either. I mean, it's a version that that I could wrap my brain around. And I will tell you, I love that book. I loved being in those experiences. I love the teams. I love the sports and being in that process. And so I was glad to see that you were going to be here. I'm very much in favor. I'm an FCA kind of guy. I mean, sports and Christ, and that's where I learned about Christ, was through FCA. And then I took that to the next step, and fortunately opened the door for me to move further. So those are the 4 things I want to talk to you about. I would encourage you to be very supportive of the FCA programs in and around this area. In fact, I got this guy's name because we need some basketball players at Champion. And so we want some of your basketball players. If you got any or any good, send them over to us. We want. Yes. Any questions?
You have about 24 minutes left if you're going to leave at 12:30.
Yeah. All right.
So we can take some questions. We didn't want you to leave now. We wanted to have a Q&A opportunity.
Fine. Yeah. Any questions?
And I see George has his hand up. Let me see
He
here.
told me he was coming.
Let's see what I can do.
Hey, just hold it up there. I don't need that. I just want to tell you, it was an honor to serve on the quorum court, but it was certainly an honor to serve with Judge Holmes being our county attorney while I was on the quorum court. I found him to always be responsive. If you asked him a question, he took the time. You'd be surprised how many people don't take the time, but he always took the time. When he mentioned the things going on, another thing that I know he's worked with Judge Davis on, and that's been the onslaught of the city of Hot Springs against the county because they've tried quarter annexation when I've written volumes about it. And he's worked closely with Judge Davis, and Judge Davis has tended to be fighting that problem and done everything he can. What really concerns me about that is if they start taking quarters, they start getting the turnback funds. Now you say, well, we're up here in the village and it doesn't affect us. It does, because if we don't get that money, we have to fix the roads that come up here around the village, not inside of your gates, but outside. So he's been instrumental in that and assisting, and he was the guy that you could listen to and on the jail, and many times he had great input. When I served on the quorum court, if he said it, I knew that you could take it to the bank and put it in the bank. So I want to thank you for the help you gave me, and I want to thank you for what you've done for the community and what you're doing for these people that in our community have problems, because he only touched so briefly on the far reaches that he has in our community working with the addicts, alcoholics, people who have substance abuse problems, and then also he also works with youth. He sends girls to various homes. He mentioned some, and we have some that people don't even know where they are for their protection because they don't want their husbands or their significant others or past significant others to find them. So he just touched lightly on some of the things he does outside of his realm as judge, because he does a tremendous amount in the community, and he should be applauded for that. Thank you, Judge.
Okay. And those are very nice remarks. There was not a question in there anywhere.
No, I just wanted to give you some accolades because he does so much more than what he said.
Okay, you have a question?
Wait a
anywhere?
second though. You know, if George is giving you those kind of accolades, you're doing something right. Because he's not one to just butter you up.
You're right.
I appreciate that very much. Coming from you, that means an awful lot. And we try hard, and I don't do everything right, I'll tell you. I make my share of mistakes, but I'm big enough to adopt those, fix them, and move on. And then he's also right. I just touched on just the basic stuff there. I've got so much going on, I couldn't even begin in that. And I do have women in, I call them safe houses, and because you deal with when you get into the drug world, you don't realize how, I did not realize how prevalent drugs were in Garland County until I became a judge. I always thought that drugs were, somebody else's problem. We have a serious drug problem. And what I want you to understand, though, is people who have drug problems are not always bad people. I mean, they could be your next door neighbor. They could be your kid's baby's mother. I mean, they can be, it's amazing to me that the drugs and alcohol know no limit when it comes to economics, when it comes to education, when it comes to race, when it comes to color, when it comes to gender. It crosses all areas. And it is amazing the destruction. You know, my favorite verse, and you know, I know I can talk religion to you guys, John 10:10. The thief comes to kill, steal, and destroy. Satan uses drugs, alcohol, and all other things to kill, steal, and destroy. But I have come so that you may have life and have it to the full. And so what I do, and what you, Friday morning, the first Friday of the month, I do drug court. If you are ever free and looking for something really cool to do, come to my courtroom at 10 o'clock on Friday morning, first Friday of the month, and you will see people who were in jail, who were in orange, who were in handcuffs, who have been beaten or beaten other people up. We have drug court, and to see them in drug court is an amazing transformation. And then to see them sitting with their mom and their dad, or their kids who they haven't seen in years, it'll bring tears to your eyes. I mean, that's the thing that this is all about. And one thing I learned as a judge real quick, it is easy to find people and put them in jail. That's the easy part. I can do that all day. It doesn't even affect me. You know, somebody else has got to deal with that. It takes a commitment to really work with people and help them to find themselves, find Christ, and or find their lives. And so I see them, I see them constantly. And I become their accountability partner. And they know it. And I put them in jail when they mess up. And they mess up from time to time. But boy, whenever they're there, I'm their biggest fan too. I mean, you can't touch one of my guys or one of my girls, or I'll be all over you. If I find out that you've been giving them drugs or something, or trying to, I jump on that. And I've even had charges filed against people for delivering pills to a rehab center, which is a felony. And so, I protect my people. They become, I feel like Moses almost. These are my people. Leave them alone, let them go. And, but anyway, I definitely, George, I appreciate the very nice words very much. You're welcome.
Okay, Dick Leach?
Judge, we are told that Sharia, which is Islamic jurisprudence, is now used in some 23 states in our country. And that courts in those states defer to Islamic law. Can you give me any idea if that's going on in Arkansas?
Absolutely not. I have not had one single case in which anybody objected. Well, let me back up. I have cases where people object to my jurisdiction because they are from the Republic of Arkansas or the Republic of Texas. We call them posse comitatus.
Yeah.
We have groups of people who refuse to adhere to, acknowledge, or comply with state law because they don't acknowledge the law, the authority of the law. I have never had anybody, though, object to my jurisdiction or the law based on a religious preference or belief. Never. And I do have people come through court who are obviously from Muslim countries. When you get a Patel, you know a Patel is not from Mountain View. You just know that. You get the names, the Gandhis, you get those names and you know, just like you know the Hernandezes and you get them all over the place. They're probably from somewhere south of here. So, you just know the nationality. But I've never had anybody say, look, I don't believe that you should enforce American jurisprudence on me because I am from an Islamic state. And frankly, if I did, I would ignore that. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. If you don't want to play by our rules, go back to wherever. Nobody's forcing you to come here. So, never had that problem. Never. And I don't anticipate that ever will.
You know, is it a problem in the state of Arkansas?
Not to my knowledge. In fact, when you said that, that's the first time I heard that. I didn't know 23 other states were having any kind of issue.
That's what I'm doing.
I didn't know that.
What are the stats? What's he talking about? We haven't heard that stat, so I wanted to. We haven't heard that stat.
You don't want to talk?
Hey, I'm an educator. Me and Mike get in trouble.
Hey, give me a job. That's right. I'm looking for educators.
I know, see?
No, put it up there, it's good.
I can talk to him without a mic.
I can too, but he made me use it because of his camera, I think.
I have never heard that stat. Is there a way you could give a minute elaboration on that? 23 states where, like what? Sharia law how?
Well, Michigan, I know, is one. This is a traditional values coalition. I get their newsletters and some others as well. That's what they're saying. And I don't have the.
Are they attempting, I know that they've always for a long time been attempting to infiltrate our court system. But that would say then that they've made it.
Well, according to them, there are 23 states that have to some degree referred to Sharia law for
All right.
judgments.
I've never heard that before. I'm gonna have to look it up.
Well, it's not happening in Garland County. I can tell you that right now. We have 4 circuit judges, 2 district court judges, and we're all not from that area. Now, I have a list, though, if you would agree to pray for Champion, I'm gonna just pass this around. And just write your name, your phone number, and your email address if you would agree to pray for Champion.
What grades is Champion?
Champion is a college.
College.
So it's a 4-year college. And what the plan is to hopefully get some of the students after they get to the national park, come over to Champion.
Degrees.
So we're looking at criminal justice. Actually, I'm teaching criminal justice class over there right now. We're looking at business, see, criminal justice, business, secondary education, and then you're going to have the Bible degree, the missionary Bible, music stuff. That's not my area. All right, they got all those pastors over there doing all that stuff. I'm into the criminal justice end of it, and I want to put together a degree program for criminal justice. I have a guy who's got an MBA out of Oral Roberts putting together a degree program for business. And I have another friend who is looking at a social worker. She's got a master's in social work. Looking at a program for social work. So, I mean, the ideal is to get 3 or 4 mainline degree programs, and then let those guys run with their Bible degrees, but tie them all together. And, you know, and hey, I'm a lawyer and a judge. I don't know what I'm doing. I just know I'm pushing stuff, and that's what I do is I push. Any other questions?
Okay, Zach, you have one?
Yeah. I'm curious on your insight, being a lawyer and a judge, on a bill that was introduced last week that, to my understanding, would basically make it to where punitive damages would be taxed at 90%, and that would go to the state. And I think the logic behind it is kind of a bad way to approach court reform. But I'm curious, is there some negative consequence from your perspective that maybe that should not be championed?
Well, let me just say, now you got to remember, of course you don't remember this, you and I've never met before, but when I came out of law school, I worked for plaintiffs' lawyers. We went around suing cities and counties, and now see, my dad's a cop. My dad's a cop in Fort Smith. My brother's a cop in Fort Smith. My brother's son is a cop in Fort Smith, and my brother's other son is 20, who's waiting to turn 21 so he can become a cop in Fort Smith. I went to law school, and I ended up suing cops, and they didn't think that was very cool. I mean, they were definitely not in favor of it. But the guys I worked with initially went around suing people, and so that's what we did. So I've done plaintiff's work for about 10 years, and then I moved my practice to Hot Springs, and when I moved my practice to Hot Springs, now I defend cops. With my practice with the PERMA and with the Garland County and Hot Spring County, I am on the defense side. So speaking at it from a defense side, I think punitive damages are horrible. I mean, I don't like them. I don't think government should have to pay them. I think it is a waste of taxpayer money. But now I can tell you, there are times when people do things that are just absolutely stupid, and they do need to be punished for that. I have a case out of Phillips County right now, which they were arresting people, keeping them in jail for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then just letting them go. No first appearance before a judge, no probable cause determinations, nothing. And it wasn't just 1 or 2. It turns out they had a systemic problem of doing that, and they had a sheriff over there who really didn't care. And so I'm in the middle of a lawsuit over that that's going to cost somebody a whole bunch of money. And I can see where punitive damages would be appropriate as to that sheriff, not to the county, because I don't think that we should take taxpayer money to pay punitive damages. But as to the individual that truly does something stupid and illegal, I don't have a problem with punitive damages. I have a problem with punitive damages as far as the government is concerned, because that is, in my opinion, we don't pay our taxes to pay punitive damages. I pay my taxes to provide me with a good military and good roads. That's really all I want. Now, I end up getting everything else under the sun, including but not limited to, SSI payments to 19-year-olds, that's another problem. Man, I just go crazy when I see that. How do you want to pay your fines? Well, I get a check. Why do you get a check? Now, this guy has, just the other day, I got a guy stealing an air conditioner out of Walmart. He picks the thing up and is carrying it. And he's getting a check. He's like 20. I go, why? Well, he's got anxiety. Well, who doesn't? I mean, you get in the real world, it is an anxious place. But anyway, you don't even want to get me started on that. But bottom line is, I don't pay my taxes because I want to be paying things in. As far as that's concerned, that is clearly tort reform, and that is designed to limit punitive damage. Because, if I know you're going to, of course, you could have a backfire.
Most people are talking about it.
If a jury knows that he's only going to get 10%, then we'll give him $1 million in hopes that he gets the 100,000. When in reality, we still give him 100,000.
But most of the examples brought up were actually like when a private citizen's suing a company. So
Right.
not necessarily the government paying the damages, but like, say, Walmart.
But it happens everywhere.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's not I have a friend who says, sin doesn't just stick to its intended victim. Sin hits everybody close to the scene. And so, punitive damages will be like that, I suspect. I don't have a problem with limiting punitive. I think if you're going to have punitive damages, and this is just us talking now, they should be tied to compensatory damages. We'll give you punitive damages, but they get to be no more than double your compensatory. If you get a $20,000 verdict, then we'll let you have up to $40,000 in punitive. But you shouldn't spill a cup of coffee on you at McDonald's and get a $3 million verdict out of that. I just don't think that's the way the system. I think that's a perversion of the judicial system. And frankly, I think that the system has been perverted. But I will tell you this, best system in the world, bar none. I try jury trials all the time. I love it. I love trying jury trials. And I win most of them, and the ones I lose, I should lose. I mean, that's anything.
Okay. You're still good for about 10 minutes if you want it. Anyone else have a question to ask? This is your chance. Ask the judge, ask the county attorney any question that you might want to ask about any of those matters.
I will, it's not a county.
Hey George, would you mind moving up a little closer here so you can...
Where do you, since we haven't had any more questions about what you presented, where do you see the majestic issue going, and when are they going to clean the rubble up? You have any idea? Do you have any thoughts on what we should be doing?
That's a city issue.
It is, but the county judge, he turned it down. He'd have had the trucks out there hauling it off, so we know what happened.
It would not have been sitting there for a year with nothing but some yellow tape around it. I can tell you right now. Yeah, Judge Davis would have had trucks out there and hauled it off. And then he would charge somebody for doing that. I mean, there's no doubt. But the city, they have their policy procedures code. And I know that there is an effort to try to get that done. That's going to be a major expense to clean that up. And of course, you've got all the rumors circulating that there's a group of investors going to come in and buy it and clean it up and build.
10-year-old rumors, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, $1.25 million on the bid, nobody even come forward, and it's going to cost $3 million to clean up. But it is interesting because Hassenflu is pretty well evidenced that he's not going to do it. He's just going to let them push him, and it's structured legally so that you can't touch him.
That's right.
And the city, and as everyone in this room knows, I keep saying the city doesn't have any money. The city gets all their money out in salary increases, bonuses, and buys new phone systems and things, and they have no reserves. So I want to bet for the people here, I didn't lose a bet, I should say. I bet the Tea Party in Hot Springs, I'd buy lunch for 100 people if the rubble was cleaned up by the anniversary date of the fire. I still have my money in the bank, by the way, because that ended a couple days ago.
Yeah.
I suspect we can have a weenie roast on the 4th of July too. I just wondered what you thought of how that's going to play forward, because I don't see the owner of the property doing anything.
And I think ultimately the city's going to have to step up and clean it up, and then they'll put a lien on the property, and that lien will sit there and do nothing. I mean,
Speaking of the city-county thing, one question I had, Judge Owen, was in looking for the information about district judges, they're listed under the city's website, not under the county's website. And I thought, well, why is that? Because you're not a city entity.
Right.
I mean, you do some service for the city, and so
Well,
here, could you speak to that?
Yeah. Our court is actually countywide, we have countywide jurisdiction. We have the city's cases and then the county cases. Those are actually two separate entities. But our court under the state statute provides that we would cover both of them. We are actually city employees. And so the city pays our salary, the city, we have to abide by their policies. Our positions are city positions, but we are housed in a county building. The county owns the building that we actually hold the court in. And now, has anybody ever been to our court? Anybody? Nobody's got the privilege to come to see me? Okay. Well, we have a pretty nice facility. I mean, we've done well. And the county owns the building, but we are treated as city employees, which is why we end up under the city's webpage. We really should be on the county's webpage too, because really we are Garland County Hot Springs District Court. But the county has never really viewed it that way. It's always been a city issue in the county. And what happens is, we get our budget approved to the city, and then the county has to reimburse the city half of our budget. Now, we collect much more money for both of them than our budget holds, but I mean, that's the way the process works. So that's one of the reasons why we would end up under the city's webpage, is because the city pays our salary. And we, though, are independent, because we get to hire and fire our own people. And I will tell you that we used to have a city manager here named Kent Myers. And I wanted to hire a girl one time, and for some reason he didn't like her. And she was African American. I mean, she'd come to my drug court. That's a real problem, I think. She'd come to my drug court, but she had a master's. I mean, she just had a problem. She ran into some cocaine and some guys, and came through that, did really well. And I wanted to hire her, and he pitched a fit about that. And so I had to explain to him that I'm an independent officer. The only person that can replace me are you guys. You get a shot at me every 4 years, but for 4 years I'm good. I'm midterm right now, so I got to watch all the stuff that happened in November and be grateful that I wasn't in the middle of all that stuff. But in 2 years, if you don't like me, you can replace me. But he can't tell me what to do. I mean, I don't work for him or for the city manager. And so, bottom line is, we are independent. We only respond to you guys, but the city does from time to time try to go too far, as you all know, George.
I always offer that the city forgets that they're 35,000, approximately 37, surrounded, they're like the hub, okay?
Yeah, they're the hub.
But there's 67,000 Indians attacking them from outside, so to speak.
They're starting to feel that, I think.
I think they were beginning to understand
I
that.
think they're starting to feel it.
Are you going to be involved in the Kevin Duck?
Not at all. It's a circuit court issue. You know, I will read about it in the paper like everybody else. I said it got continued to July or something, but I will not have anything to do with that. I will tell you this. I did the arraignment on him. When he was first arrested, the law says when you get arrested, you have to have a probable cause determination within 48 hours. And then it says you have to have a first appearance before a judge within 72. So district court, Judge Schweitzer and I, we do the initial determinations to see if there's probable cause, and then we usually do the first appearances for everybody. And so I happened to be there the day he came through. I did the probable cause, and after reading the affidavit, I concluded that there was probable cause for that case to continue, that there was at least some smoke there. And then I did the arraignment, and I don't even remember, I feel like he had a lawyer, I gave a plug, I don't even know. Bottom line is, we dealt with it initially, and then that case was filed in the circuit. And the prosecutor had 60 days to file those cases in the circuit. They filed it, and like I said, now I understand it's set in the summons, actually. That's my only involvement. Just to babysit it at the front end, make sure nobody messes it up, and then send it off to circuit.
Does District 1 and District 2 have the elections on the same, are they staggered?
Yes, we're together.
And that would be in the upcoming
2
general
years.
election?
In 2 years, we will be up for re-election.
For the same date as the general election
Yes.
upcoming? And your boundaries are the congressional boundaries?
Our boundaries with Garland County. We are a single county district. We stay in Garland County. Some other judges have to travel a little circuit, but in our volume is so great that we just try to take care of Garland County. That's all we do. Both of them. Take care
Okay,
of us.
but your boundaries are the entirety of Garland County for
Yes.
each of you, so
Yes.
you vote for both.
Yes, we are. In fact, we are interchangeable. Like, for example, today, I did Division 1 this morning because that's Judge Schweitzer, because he's recovering. And then I'll do my session is this afternoon, 30 minutes or whatever. So I mean, we are interchangeable, and you know, the good thing about having two judges is, like, if I need to go do something, he's great about covering for me, and you know, he had to do something, and so I obviously want to be there for him. And I tell you, we get along great. This is a great working relationship, two of us, which I think helps everybody in the long run.
Okay. Well, I think you need to leave now, but before you do, can we all say thank you?
Thank you for letting me come. I was looking, I did want to get out here and meet with you guys I wanted to take something out of it, and I see a lot of names right there,
And
so
I think
I know.
Benjamin Netanyahu took a lot of our audience today.
That's all right. Ben needs it right now, so. And
Hey, if Obama would have been speaking, the room would have been full.
And Micah, as you're set, you got something you're gonna say? I was gonna say, we have,
oh, yeah.
hey, yeah, there we go.
Hey,
Get that one there. Okay. Thank you. Zach, while they're loving on each other, Zach, Cuban, could you come and make a couple remarks? Zach is from Americans for Prosperity. He's our area rep.
That's right.
And you got something you wanted to tell us in just like 2 minutes.
I'll get it.
Well, that was the majority of what I wanted to say. I just wanted to make sure y'all knew that I was your representative. I haven't been able to make it down as much as I wanted,
Thank you.
because, you know, we were holding Senator Pryor accountable, so knocking on lots of doors, but
I don't need to get this.
But now I'm more available, so I'll,
Thank you.
so I'll be coming to your meetings regularly. But I wanted to keep you guys up to date with what we're working on right now, as far as the session.
Yeah, I am.
So there's the RAS. Oh, sure. There's the RAS Act, which basically, it's kind of complicated, but essentially the Obama administration has put some demands that Arkansas reduces CO2 emissions by 2020. So of course, how we actually implement that could negatively affect the business climate in Arkansas significantly. So the RAS Act basically says that Arkansas can't enact a plan until they run it by the legislature, the body, just so our representatives have some type of input on that. There's also a bill that HB 1422 that Nate Bills proposed to basically do away with special elections that happen sporadically, and so we move them to where they have to be in November or May. We've actually got a really nice blog post on that, and I've got some copies there that has everyone on the committee. So we're asking people to call and tell them that you support that, just to save taxpayers money. And if you don't know, that's a really easy way for special interest groups to raise taxes, because they do it when no one's paying attention, right? And they get their people out to the polls.
Would it include school elections? Or
Right.
It would include
Yes,
school elections.
all special elections. There's a movement to restore the capital gains cut that was, half of it was done away when Governor Hutchinson's middle class tax cuts were implemented. So we're hoping that comes back. And then there's, Governor Hutchinson also said that the GIF funding would not be part of the budget, but there's already some legislators pushing to bring that back. So we're hoping to keep pressure to keep that out. And there's also a tort reform bill, as well as a school choice bill that's supposedly in the works, but it hasn't been introduced yet. So those are things that AFP is working on at the Capitol. Just check out our website. You can always keep up to date with what we're working on. And the last thing I have to say is we have a new grassroots leadership academy. And if you're interested in that, just come see me. I've got some pamphlets back there. Basically, it's a totally free resource for anyone to use. We're going to fly in professional trainers. And it's a 12-week program that'll meet every other week. And so we'll feed you dinner, and you'll just hear from a professional speaker and get some good training. All right, that's all I have.
I'm sorry, I missed, do you have a
I have
pamphlet?
all the information. Yes, sir.
Okay, can I give any
No, we're good,
service
we're
to
good,
you?
we're ready to roll.
Okay, Mike May.
It's a pleasure to be here. I'm the director for FCA, Fellowship for Christian Athletes. You don't have to be an athlete to be a part of FCA. We have over 30 school districts and 2 universities, including Henderson and Washington State University. But I want to open up telling you about Brandon's story. Okay, Brandon I met in 2009. I was the speaker at a camp. We do leadership camps for kids through all the different schools, and I was the camp speaker. And on the third night, Brandon he was a high school, junior high school kid at Jesseville, came down and accepted Christ, and it had a big impact on his life. Came back to school, got plugged in, things were going well. Got kind of with some friends that maybe weren't the best influences, and then the tragedy happened. A few days before Christmas, his mom was missing. And for all through Christmas, Brandon didn't know where his mom was, didn't know what was going on. And then, as you probably figured out, his mom was Donna Natsky, and his mom was murdered. And he was in a dark hole. Can you imagine losing your mom? And he was praying on a Sunday morning and said, God, help me. I know I need you, but I don't know what to do. I need to go to church. He wasn't going to church, wasn't doing anything. And because of that, right then, when he said that prayer, his phone rang. I was doing a service at Village Bible Church on a Sunday morning, and right after he said that prayer, he had a friend call, said, hey, I'm speaking at a church. Will you go with me to talk about FCA? And he has been plugged into FCA. He's been plugged into all the stuff we've been doing. He's worked for my parents. Our story is when I was 3 years old, Dr. John Trishman scholarship my dad, who was a football coach, to go to an FCA coaches camp in Granby, Colorado. And for 30 years, we've been a part of FCA. And my dad and my mom, we started a Christian camp called Family Farm Christian Day Camp. It's located in Glen Rose between Mountain and Benton. And that camp started because of FCA, because of one man's scholarship. And Brandon actually has worked for us for 2 or 3 different summers at our summer day camp program for kids ages 6 to 12. But now Brandon's in college. He's at Henderson State University. He still leads our summer camp program for FCA. He does a lot of work. But that's one young man that was in a dark spot, that if FCA wasn't a part of his life, that there's a good chance he would have ended up in the court. He would have ended up in problems. And that's what FCA is. It's a preventative ministry. You think about, I support Champion Baptist College on a monthly basis. I'm a guest speaker at their school. And they've got 50 college students. They may have 200 and 500 in the future. That's 50. If you look at FCA, I've got 30 school districts. I've got around 30 to 50, 60 kids in each school district that are actively a part of FCA. Can you imagine the amount of students that we influence to make good decisions, to make the right decisions, to not hang out with the crowds that are out partying and drinking and getting involved in drugs, but to actually follow Christ and to follow their convictions? It's absolutely incredible. We do an event called Fields of Faith in October. Has anybody heard of that event? You've heard about it? If you think about it, how many would you think would come to a Wednesday night football field just for worship and testimonies from students? Normally you would think maybe a couple hundred, maybe 500 would be an awesome turnout. Last year in Hot Springs at Lakeside Stadium, we had 2,850 students come on a Wednesday night to a public school campus to hear their friends' testimonies. We feed on pizza. It's an incredible night. FCA is changing students' lives for the better. They are literally, when they're getting plugged into Christ, plugged into our program, their lives are being changed. It's incredible. And I hadn't actually met the judge until today. And you think about his life. He said FCA was one of the most influential parts of his life. He said the only book that he has was a Bible that he got at FCA camp. We give every single one of our students an FCA Bible that come to our leadership camp. Let's talk about leadership camp. Most of these kids can't afford to go to camp. We raise over $25,000, and for us, that's just different people giving $50 here, $100 here, or $250 for a scholarship. $25,000 to send over 100 students to camp. We had 307 campers last summer for statewide. We were the #1 area represented. We had about 125 from this area. And they were all scholarship. Nearly 1/3 of the camp for the whole state of Arkansas was from this area. Here in South Central Arkansas FCA, we have the highest percentage of huddles per school ratio anywhere in the state of Arkansas. It may be one of the highest in the nation. Our national average for FCA chapters nationwide is about 6-7% of all schools. Arkansas is around 40 to 50%. Our area is between 80 and 90-something% have an active FCA chapter. So, I mean, it's an incredible opportunity for these young people who are lost. They want direction. They need guidance before they get out there on their own and really make some bad decisions that wind them in a very bad place. They need that direction. And FCA is there. And this leadership camp that we do in the summer is incredible. Fields of Faith. We also service Arkadelphia, which we have about 1,100 at Arkadelphia's Fields of Faith. I go all the way to Mena. We have about 850 at their Fields of Faith. Fordyce has got 350. And so it's just an incredible, incredible opportunity to try to touch young people's lives in junior high and high school and even college before they make some decisions that really could wind them in a troubled spot. And so we have a huge event. I want to actually, Clay, will you mind help me pass these out? Inside of this is some pictures. Because of the time, I'm probably not going to do a big presentation today. Maybe later I can come back and spend more time. I'm going to leave a few minutes for Q&A. But this is an event we do. Last year we had legendary football coach Bobby Bowden come into Hot Springs. The convention center said it was the largest plated dinner that they had for a nonprofit. We had 900 at this banquet. We do it again May 1st and 2nd. And Grant Taff, you can read about him, but he's the executive director for the American Football Coaches Association. He's in so many Hall of Fames, I can't even list them all. They're all there. But inside this is a picture, if you guys don't mind, there's what we call a year in review. And rather than going through a PowerPoint presentation, just to save some time, you can look through these pictures. But these are pictures from the college retreat on the top, from Fields of Faith, different students. And then on the back it has leadership camp. One of the big things, the judge wants to be a coach. Well, one of our big influences is influencing coaches to influence their students. It's said that coaches have some of the most impactful influence on a campus. We work with those coaches to try to be better Christians, to be better role models, to help these young people to get started down a path that will help them for the rest of their life. And that's what I love about working with FCA. We're 60 years old. Recently, we are audited each year by the National Charitable Christian Foundation, and we are in the top 1% of all charities that they audit. 8 consecutive years, we have a 4-star rating, and there's less than 1% of all of theirs reach that. I mean, it's a very sound organization, headquarters in Kansas City, Missouri, and we have an incredible ministry here locally, Jesseville, Fountain Lake, Mountain Pine, and we do a luncheon once a month in Hot Springs Village. So, like, if you want to know more about, hey, I want to know more about FCA, I want to meet some of these kids and let them share their testimonies. This Friday, we're going to be, I believe, at Village United Methodist Church at noon, and we're going to have a luncheon from 12 to 1 where we have about 40 to 60 people come. It's a great place to network. You may want to come and just kind of steal a few people to come and be a part of the tea party. You can cross-pollinate a little bit that way. It's a great networking opportunity, and I want you guys to also be able to, I want all the people that come to those lunches to meet you, because as I hear you talk, I realize that there are some very bright people in the room that have, that want to make a difference in this world, and FCA is just a great place to be involved. So we have a certified adult FCA chapter that meets every single month for lunch, and it's at a different church, different locations. They host it. It's $5 for a meal, and I'll tell you what, I always leave super excited about what's going on. And I can sit up here and tell you story after story after story about what's going on with young people in their lives, but I want to take a few minutes and hear from you. I can talk all day about FCA, but if you've got a question for me, and then if nobody has questions, then I'll keep telling you stories about what we're doing, and we'll go from there. Does that sound good, Clayton?
Yeah, sounds good.
Could you repeat?
Just a second, you have a question? Or?
No, just repeat what you said about the meeting that's coming up.
Yes, it's Hot Springs Village United Methodist Church.
Okay.
It's at noon. Yeah, Village United Methodist Church at noon this Friday. And I want to give you my phone number. If you will call or text me, I'll put you on the RSVP list so that we always order enough food and stuff like that. And we have your name tag, and it's all ready to go. My cell phone number is 501 454-2000. And my name is Micah, M-I-C-A-H. And my last name is May, M-A-Y.
Okay, well, Micah, no other question yet. Let me ask you something I'm curious of. For FCA, being a Christian organization and working in the public school systems, sometimes there are people who are real unhappy about that. Maybe an atheist organization or some other organization that thinks that you shouldn't be there and shouldn't be doing that. There have been issues, haven't there? There have been legal fights and things that have come up. Is there anything recent that you could tell us about that in that category?
We don't face a lot of legal challenges. Recently, there's different nonprofit groups like the ACLU and different organizations like that basically they're more of they try to threaten. They don't have much ground to stand on because we have the law basically on the student side. It's not on our side, it's on the student side. And there's something called the Student Bill of Rights that students have the right to meet and fellowship as long as it's student-led. It has to be a sponsor in the school. They can have a school club. As long as the school has that policy where they have clubs. Now, there's some schools in Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas, I believe there's a school up there that said we're not going to have any clubs on campus. So if you have a club for something secular, you have to have a club for something Christian. You can't discriminate because of that. Now, a few years ago, there was a letter filed against, or not filed, but sent to Fountain Lake because there was an FCA building. It wasn't an FCA building, it was a school building that had a sign on the front that said FCA meets here. And that's the only issue, and FCA has big lawyers, and I went to the school and said, hey, we'll back you. But there was nothing, the school attorneys told Darren Beckwith, look, you don't have to do anything. You didn't do anything wrong. There's nothing here. This is just a letter, got a little press, and that was it. But there's nothing, we've had no legal battles here or any problems with that. There's just people that try to say, you can't do that, and then the law says they can do that. And so that's where we stand.
George, surely you have a question.
What schools in Hot Springs do you have your program in?
Lakeside Junior High School, Lake Hamilton Middle School, Junior High School, Hot Springs High School, and Cutter Morning Star, Fountain Lake, Jesseville, Mountain Pine. Am I leaving anybody out? Magnet Cove, that's kind of on the edge. It's in Hot Spring County.
You have Cutter Morning Star and
Yep.
Cutter Morning Star. So you basically have all the schools in Hot Springs, Garland County.
I have all the schools. I've got 30 school districts, and in my area is Garland County, Hot Spring County, Clark County. I actually kind of go west a little bit to all the way to Mena, and so Gurdon, Fordyce, some of those south areas. Each territory has a rep like me or a director that's actually over certain schools. So that way everybody's taken care of.
Thank you.
Sure.
Bob, you look thoughtful enough that you should surely have a question. What is it?
I don't know, think of something.
Here, think of it.
Do you have, you rub up against other Christian groups like Teen Challenge and all of that? You commingle with them at all?
You commingle?
Not a sexist remark.
Yeah, we have a great relationship with Teen Challenge. I mean, Tim Colbert has been there forever. We all have similar beliefs that we want people to get help, whether it's before they get in trouble or after they get in trouble. So we're kind of the front end of Teen Challenge. We're trying to, it's like he said, he used to just, hey, I got to help those that are in need, but he's realizing, hey, if we help those that even before they get in trouble, then that's even better. And that's what FCA is kind of, before they even get in trouble, if we can get them involved in our program, we're going to help them so much more. And it's truly amazing. What's going on in this area FCA-wise is absolutely incredible. And I just felt like if I started my presentation, I really felt like it was going to go too long. And so I've got incredible videos, pictures, stories, testimonies that are really exciting that I'd love to show you sometime if it works out where I can come back. I'd love to. And I think it was a God thing for me and Judge Ohm to meet today, because I hadn't met him yet, and to hear his story about FCA and then our both mutual connection with Champion Baptist College. He didn't even know, but I love that college and I support them, and I love Dr. Capacey, and so good things are happening in our area with our young people. You may not hear a lot about it, but there's some really good things that are happening.
I'm really surprised that you can have a club inside the school, because all I keep hearing is, God's left out of the school. You can't get in there. And I would be shocked that ACLU or somebody like that wouldn't be.
Well, I can explain that if it would help, to kind of walk through what it looks like. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Basically, as long as there's a student that say, I want to have a Christian club on campus, they can't discriminate, as a school district, cannot discriminate against them for their religious beliefs. They have to have a teacher or a coach be an adult supervisor. Most FCAs or any group like this, they will meet either during lunch or maybe right before school or right after school. Those are the 3 best times. And because it is student-led, they can even, and here's what it looks like, students can invite guest speakers to come in. I mean, if there was a high school Tea Party association, you guys would be their guest speakers, I bet. You would come in. We have villagers that will actually be a guest speaker and talk about the Bible and stuff. There's different guest speakers that come out from here. So my point being is they can have guest speakers. There's a lot of flexibility, but what you can't do is I can't come in and say, okay, let's say there's not an FCA. I can't go in and say, hey, I'm starting FCA. I am the FCA guy. All you kids, you have to come to me and I'm going to teach you all about Jesus. No, I'm an adult. I'm an outsider. But when there's a student in the school that says, hey, I'm going to be involved in FCA, or what it is we have active FCA programs, so when they get to 7th grade, they start going to FCA if they want to, or sometime throughout their life or in junior high and high school, they get involved in FCA. And it's an active program where we have 40, 50, 60, sometimes 100 kids meeting every single week. And so they have the legal right to meet and gather for prayer, for religious purposes. And the Gideons, a lot of times, they can't pass out their Bibles anymore, to everybody like they used to. So what they do is they go to FCA and then they encourage, people to come to FCA that day and get their Bible. There was a deal in Hot Springs 2 years ago where the youth pastors were giving out a big life book campaign, which is a kind of like a New Testament written in a very contemporary way with student notes. And even Lakeside School District, even though they are very pro-FCA from an administration side, they couldn't just pass them out to everybody. But what we did is we bought pizza, we let everybody come into FCA, gave a bunch of them to a bunch of kids, and everybody that wanted one could. And so there's ways that FCA is maybe one of the last ways to really be a strong presence on our public schools. Does that answer your question at all, or is there any follow-up question that you have?
Pretty much. My brother and his wife raised 2 daughters in Salt Lake City. They came from Arizona, but they're Salt Lake City, and they weren't Mormon. And the girls were in high school, and they had a hour-long class, a religious class, that told them, you got to go to study hall. You can't. They didn't want to anyway, but that surprised me a little bit.
is that a public school?
Yes. Of course, the Mormon Church runs the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, and everything else in Utah. But I'm still surprised that you haven't had a lot of conflict.
Let me ask too, you mentioned it, touched on a couple of times at least, pizza. And I wonder how successful do you think the FCA program would be without pizza?
Well, for Jezebel and Fountain Lake in particular, because there's a lot of villagers that want to support young people, and where are all young people typically, if they're not homeschooled, they're at a public school. And so there's a good group out here, the adult chapter, that buys pizza every single week for the kids. So if they just got out of football practice and they're hungry, they've got a choice. They can go home, or they can go out to eat, go to Sonic or whatever by Fountain Lake, or if they want to go to FCA, they know that there's going to be food there. So absolutely having some resources out here that help these local schools, these local FCA chapters by funding their pizza, because they both meet like Monday night at 5:30. that's a huge blessing, because kids, when they're hungry, have a hard time listening. And if you have to choose between food or going to FCA, they may go and choose food. Or they, there's different ways, but not every FCA has food, because not every FCA has the adult support that these schools out here do. We've recently added Mountain Pine into this adult support, and so into this area, as far as we're going to take care of them, we're going to buy them donuts or whatever they need meat on Thursday morning. So that's a little bit about that.
Bob, you have a note?
No, not today.
Zach, you want to comment on anything? You're all done?
It's all right, I can.
Okay, Rusty, you're reaching for the mic with both hands, are you?
Not really,
No?
I'm French, I speak with my hands.
Oh, here, take this.
All right, you have an area.
Hold it close here.
Tell me about the entire state of Arkansas, were they as compliant as our area? Okay.
Yeah, so the question is, Arkansas FCA, what does that look like? And Arkansas is in the middle of the Bible Belt, or a part of the Bible Belt, and typically, from my experience, is they are very open to these faith-based programs. I mean, it's legal all the way, so there's no legal challenges to it, but here's the bottom line. Administrators, when kids don't act right, I mean, a big part of educating is not just teaching, but it's also the whole conduct side. So when you have good leaders in your school, just like the judge used this example, what if that particular part of Hot Springs has 500 or 1,000 missionaries coming out of that college? Will it not affect that part of town? Absolutely. In the same way with our public schools, if we develop great leaders with good moral standards, will it not affect that school in a positive way? And so who typically are the leaders in a school? A lot of times it's the athlete, it's that star quarterback, or it's the running back, it's that star basketball player that everybody goes and sees. And so there's something called influence that is a big part of FCA, and that's why we don't shy away from the athletic background, but you by no means have to be an athlete. A huge part of our FCA is not even athletes at all. We say FCA is for Fellowship of Christian Anybody, because anybody can come. We want everybody that wants to come. So it's not exclusive, it's not the Fellowship of Athletes, it's just that's the organization that was started 60 years ago that is super strong today, stronger now than ever before. And so that kind of, I don't know if that answers your question in a roundabout way, but
I wanted to know if the whole state was included in how the people are behaving in your district.
yeah,
It seems like the Holy Spirit's just moving.
our district is, I mean, we've led the numbers of kids going to camp for the whole state of Arkansas for the past number of years. We've led the state of Arkansas in the total number of students going to Fields of Faith. Lakeside has been the largest in Arkansas. We've led in funding as far as, and we're not number one, but I mean compared to where we were, I mean God has really increased, and there's a big connection between what we can do and the resources we have available. And so Arkansas is doing great, but South Central Arkansas has been very blessed over the past, I've seen it grow in 7 years. And it has a lot to do with the leaders in Hot Springs Village and Hot Springs and the staff that we all have to be able to go out and make this happen. So it's exciting. I'm really, really excited about what's going on.
Almost done, I guess. I read in your bio that you're a mechanical engineering graduate from Arkansas Tech. I have a son that graduated there for electrical engineering, a son-in-law. And one thing about that, even more so than, say, the fields of history and art, it's fairly easy to find employment as a mechanical engineer. So you're not doing this because you couldn't find a job as an engineer. Are you sorry some days that you're not working as an engineer?
Absolutely not. I mean, this is my calling, and part of the reason why we're successful is I'm passionate about reaching young people.
It doesn't show.
No. I've had to really tone it down a little bit. I get really excited. Come to the luncheon, no. But just a quick, my story. Played college football at Arkansas Tech, got a mechanical engineering degree, and just while I was in college, I really had a heart for, I mean, there were 6,000 students at Arkansas Tech and hardly any of them went to church, in my opinion. So I was like, this is easy. So I just consistently talked to people about coming to church, get involved, and I actually started picking them up in my Ford Expedition, making rounds. The church I was going to hired me while I was in college they said, we just want you to keep doing what you're doing, because we were filling up rows of college students, and so they hired me as a college pastor for those college students, and it was amazing while I was there. Got out, I always wanted to be a youth evangelist, even though I got an engineering degree, and I was preaching in Hope, Arkansas on Wednesday night, and the pastor asked me there, would you be interested in being our youth pastor? I prayed about it, and I said, I'd love to be a youth pastor, maybe in my hometown, at my home church. Had a lot of respect for the church that I went to, grew up in, but I thought, that'll never happen. That was on Wednesday. On Sunday, we were having a fellowship at my parents' camp. We have a 40-acre camp called Family Farm Christian Day Camp, and we were having a church fellowship. The senior pastor, no joke, he pulled me to the side and said, I've been praying, and I feel like you're going to be our next youth pastor. And it was in the same week. I thought, well, maybe there's something to this. And within a matter of months, that youth pastor became the praise and worship leader for the whole church. I became the youth pastor. We had 30, 40 kids when we started. About 3 years into it, we were running 200. Built us a huge facility. I mean, I was like, I'm living a dream. I've got 200 kids coming to a youth program at a church of 400. We're almost half the size of the church, and things are going great. And then God said, I got something else for you to do. And we started working with FCA. When I started working with FCA, there was not hardly any money, not hardly any resources. There were board members that was like, we can't afford to pay this guy even part-time. I started part-time, and about 3 years into it, in 2010, I went to a support, raise, and training boot camp to help me with ministry partner development. And since that time, we have about 100 partners that give monthly that help us do what we do. And we've been able to increase all of our events. Our camp, our office runs the statewide camp. Our office has brought back the statewide coaches retreat in Branson we do. And so because of our partners and because of just, God's grace and His calling, I've never regretted not going. I always wanted to use my degree because, I was like, I need to use this so I have a little bit on my resume, but God had other plans for me, and at this point I don't see having the need to go back.
And it's 1 o'clock or slightly moments after. I did want to tell you that Dr. Jack Sternberg was on the radio this morning. Anybody else here? He was on what's that guy's name? Dick Antoine show. Apparently he's going to be a regular on there now. They announced, but he was going to. He's sometimes here. He sometimes makes part of our crowd. He and his wife and some of his entourage. And he was going to be at the Capitol today, speaking. Addressing one of the committees of he said which one it was, Public Health Welfare or something committee of the legislature. And wanted to let you know that's in addition to Benjamin Netanyahu's taking some of our crowd people watching his speech. We sometimes do have a full house here.
Oh, that's okay.
And we're glad you came, and it was a great presentation.
Can I say one more thing about this banquet, just to kind of wrap it all up?
Yeah, but do it quick.
Oh, sure.
I just want you to write you're invited to the FCA Banquet and Golf Tournament. It's $30 a person, or $60 a couple, or $300 a table. And this is going to be just a great night. We have an auction. We have almost 900 people come. And then we have a golf tournament the next day. So even if you can't come, I want you guys to keep this and just think about coming out and learning more about FCA.
Thank you, and please give Micah a big hand and appreciation for his coming. Yay. Thank you. And we are adjourned.